Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Claude, Virginie, for being with us today. Drug innovation is a very challenging activity. We know that, for example, 90% of drug candidates fail in clinical development. AI is a major opportunity to regain efficiency across the whole process. And your experience at Servier is very insightful. My first question is for you, Claude. Could you introduce Servier and the ambition of your drug innovation strategy?
First, thank you, Paul. Thank you for the organizer to have us, and super pleased, super excited to be here with Virginie today. What's really important is to put the patient at the center of all of what we do, and that's true for this day as well. And that's where Servier, as a global pharmaceutical company, should always remember is governed by a foundation. And that makes the patient the ultimate beneficiary of all of what we do at Servier. In terms of therapeutic area, just to give you a bit of a sense of focus, we have been historically in a leadership position in cardiovascular and metabolism venous diseases, and we are still leaders in many geographies, and we will continue to work to be leaders in those areas with a very major focus on adherence of patients. But I don't always know how to put it for oncology, because I think it's more than becoming a leader. We are now a leader in oncology, and this has been a very short journey over the last 5-6 years to get us there. And there we are playing, obviously, disruptive innovation to develop highly transformative medicines for cancer that we are in, which is mainly hard to treat cancer, some pediatric cancer, an area where there's not been much innovation in the last couple of years. And there is an example for us of a very recent drug approval for Voranigo in the United States and several other countries. So it's a process at the moment for low-grade glioma, where there was no innovation in the last 25 years. And finally, last but not least, is that we are now building on the model of what we have done in oncology. We have the plan of building a franchise in neurology. Now, that's for the introduction. Now, to be successful there is that we have to beat this number that Paul was mentioning. And for that, we need to be more efficient. We need to be obviously highly focused, but we also need to show some strong metrics of improvement in the R&D process and the R&D journey. And for that, we set us very hard goals, very ambitious goals of doubling the probability of success and to diminish the time to market by 2 to 4 years in the next 10 years to come. So that's to give you the ambition and where data and AI are going to be extremely important for us. The last point is that you don't do innovation alone. That's true for data and AI, that's true for biology, that's true for chemistry, and all of the disciplines we're going through the journey in R&D. And for that, we have installed at Servier what we call the One Innovation Engine to capture innovation wherever it's coming from. And it's not a competition between what's going on internally or what goes on outside. We have a very strong way of looking at opportunities wherever it's coming from, and really with a strong push on strategic partnerships. So that gives you an idea of what we do at Servier.
Thank you, Claude. And we see that Servier has set an impressive innovation ambition. The question is for you, Virginie. How does AI support this ambition, and what are the key ingredients to succeed?
Yes, we have a huge ambition because, as you said in the introduction, drug discovery is extremely difficult, extremely difficult. It's 10 to 15 years, probability of success below 5%. And we need to accelerate because actually innovation is a race. It's true in all industry, But for us at Servier, it's not only a race against competition, it's a race against the diseases for the patients, because this is what we do, trying to find new treatment for hard to treat diseases, cancer, neurology, and so on. And we do believe that AI will help us to accelerate innovation and improve efficiency. But to do so, obviously, we need enablers. So we need computational capabilities, models. On those two ones, we are quite confident that we can do it ourselves or via partnership, and we always study make or buy in all what we do. The difficulty remains in data, getting access to the data. And as Claude mentioned, we are trying to fight hard to treat diseases, rare diseases, so the data is very scarce, and we have to have it in good quality, quantity, unbiased. So this is very, very challenging. And talents and skills. AI touch all the industries, and we need to attract the best talents in the pharma industry to fight, once again, against the disease.
Thank you, Virginie. Going from ideas to implementation of AI solutions at scale in daily process is a long journey. Could you walk us through the different steps of this journey at Servier?
Yeah, it's a long journey, and I think it's been 5 years now we are working on it with, together with Claude. The first point and the base is there's no AI without data. Data is the gold. And initially, we've spent, I think it was 80% of our time and resources to getting access to the data, to have it in a good quality, to ingest it in the platform. So, and even today, it's still, I think, half of what we do, getting access to the data in good quality and ingesting it in our platform. But once we've said that, we've also worked on use cases. And we had the first phases that we called opportunistic approach. At the time, in 2020, we weren't yet in the hype of generative AI. So we had the challenge at that time to prove what AI could bring and what AI could bring to the science, to the biology. So we've worked hand in hand with our R&D colleagues to build the first successes and to prove that it worked. Also, to be honest, to learn how to work together, because scientists and geeks doesn't exactly work the same way. So it's been a journey, but we've proved that we could deliver successful use cases for the pharma industry, and I think that Claude will tell a little more about that. And then, since a few months now, we've entered the second phase that we called systemic approach. We don't want AI to be an add-on to R&D, but we want AI to be embedded, rooted in all what R&D does. So we've, between my teams and Claude's teams, we've worked to really analyze each steps of the R&D processes. We've identified 16 critical points, and we've identified where AI could make a difference. And we decided to focus and prioritize 20 initiatives all along the R&D processes where we can deliver the best value in terms of impact and in terms of feasibility. So we've entered this new phase now, and it's very promising.
Thank you. Claude, now that we have seen the journey, I think everyone is pretty excited to know what are the achievements so far and how do they accelerate concretely innovation at Servier.
So we are looking at a very long cycle, as Virginie was pointing out. We are talking about a journey of 15 years. So you have basically to segment that journey, at least in 4 major steps. So for people who are not really in the pharma industry, is that there's really 2 main steps in research and 2 main steps in development. And as Virginie was pointing out, we are really now identifying use cases in all those steps. The first thing I wanted to say as well, before going just through the couple of examples, is that I'd like to thank the experts in R&D and in DDSI who have worked really hard. Even before 2020, we started this journey. And as I like to describe myself, I'm a candid imposter with a vision, but I need really experts in this area. And so probably what we are proudest of at this stage and having clear impact is obviously in the early stage of research, and that's where we started in terms of target identification, target validation, and the first identification of chemical leads, and that's where we put our major effort. So we have already, and we have seen in the shape of our portfolio, recently accelerated target discovery. So we had pretty massive, to our scale, entry of new targets, which we believe are much higher quality of what we were doing before. We have already very much streamlined the drug design, and that's not only in medicinal chemistry and small molecule, but also in anti-science oligonucleotide. And we have a really wonderful internal tool, I believe, to assist with target assessment. So it's not only one thing to identify target, but you have to make sure that, again, putting the patient at the center and having translational medicine involved very early on, it needs to be highly linked to a clinical output and a clinical meaningful measurements. And so that's for the really kind of research phase. And at the verge of going from research into development, there is a very, very critical point to proof of clinical concept is to make sure that you can really anticipate the best way possible the first human dose that you will put into patient. And we have made very much progresses in this area as well. So I will go a bit quicker, but we have done quite a bit in terms of acceleration of patient recruitment, identification of places, right centers. So again, you need tons of data to be able to come up with a quality prediction, but that will accelerate drastically the way we conduct early phase of clinical trials, because that's where basically you decision on saying, I invest massively in this drug or not, or we stop. And finally, at the end of the value chain is really the assistance, and that's very much Gen AI in medical writing, where we are gaining really clearly significant amount of time. So you can see that even though we are still at the beginning of the journey, we have already impact in very major area of the R&D journey.
Thank you, Claude. Virginie, Claude just mentioned one solution you built to accelerate the assessment of new targets with generative AI. Could you explain a bit more about this solution?
Yes. Like Claude said, the very first phase of R&D is target discovery. We have to focus on the best target to address the disease. But once we have identified, and we can have many, many targets for diseases. Once we have identified a possible target, we need to assess it. Biology, disease link, safety, drugability. And it's very, very time consuming and resource intensive. So what we've tried to do is to have scientists augmented with AI. AI will not replace science, but it will augment it. And for the safety module, for instance, we've built an in-house search engine that will screen more than 50 databases, millions of scientific publications to really assess the safety of a target. And we've reduced by 90% the time spent by the scientist on this specific activity. So you see that in each step, we try to gain time, because once again, we are in a race against the diseases.
Thank you, Virginie. We are about to finish this interview, and my final question is for you, Claude. We said at the start that drug innovation is extremely difficult, and I know that you believe that no one can succeed alone. Could you tell us more about your strategy in leveraging external partnerships?
But I'll finish where I started. Number one is partnership, and that starts internally. The progresses we have made in these last couple of years at Servier are very much linked to the hand-in-hand collaboration, partnership, complete inclusion of what we call in-house DDSI or DDIS and R&D. So it's really important that we have, and that's true also when we start to look at the outside world. We need to be absolutely perfectly aligned to make sure that we are making the right choices. We are a mid-sized company, we don't have deep pockets, and so we have to be extremely selective in the choice we are making. Which comes to the first way of doing collaboration with the outside, is to do and create pre-competitive networks. And that's what we have tried to do with a very recent association we created about 1.5 years ago called Federate. And the idea, so this is still in a building phase, we'll have an event done with medicine actually to push Federate and to make sure that we'll have more and more people coming to and join this association, and is to really work on the problematics that I described, Virginie described, on saying, you know, what can we do together more efficiently and in an accelerated way before basically it's become competitive again. And that's something that we have created with Oncodesign Precision Medicine and Servier as founders. We have already a couple of people that join, biotech mostly, and we are looking for much more addition to these pre-competitive networks. Another way of doing it is really to pick, and it's very hard. Somebody mentioned this morning how many companies are created almost like every day if you're looking at the world, not just France, although France is very well placed. And that's, again, a collaboration between our departments, Virginie and I, to really pick what we believe is going to make a difference. And so in digital twin, we choose Aitia, based in Boston, but we are seeing them very often on the Saclay Plateau. And then obviously a very famous now French company called Okin, very much involved in imaging and now a 3D type of analysis and machine learnings. And we have already great progress made on specific projects with those two partners. And finally, Damien mentioned it in the introduction this morning, it's super important to what I called surf the wave of major investment made in France at the moment, and again to look at partnership between academia and the private sectors to make sure that again we are accelerating now this transformation as much as we can.
Thank you very much, and I wish you a nice day at the summit.
Thank you very much. Thank you.